We are coming to you live from $1 Million Studios. Your boys, Chris Speezak,
a.k.a. the White Buffalo.
And the benchmark of professional wrestling, Mr. Silky Baines.
That will make me the Black Bison.
Speez and the Benchmark Show on a Monday night, November 26, 2018. We thank you so much for being with us. Everybody with us here on Periscope and over on the YouTubes. We hope you will share the program with all of your followers and get as many folks in here as we can. Do us a favor and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Up over 100 subscribers on YouTube, over 200 on Periscope.
Things are moving in the right direction.
Glad to hear that. So we hope you will continue to spread the good word. We very much appreciate that. And, of course, if you want to share your thoughts on this absolutely atrocious train wreck of a Monday Night Raw, we were asking ourselves earlier, is this quite possibly the worst Monday Night Raw of the year? I think it's got to be in the running if it's not the worst overall. So feel free to chime in the chat room, or you can give us a call at 832-937-4559.
That's 832-93-SILKY.
832-93-SILKY is the number to get in. Silky, how was your Thanksgiving, sir, before we get into this ridiculous Monday Night Raw?
Oh, my Thanksgiving was great.
Yeah?
I had family in town, little nieces and nephews running all around the house, and we stuck my kids with the babysitting duty, so it was great.
Excellent. Well, you can rarely go wrong with that. We were up in San Marcos with my family up there. Shout out to you, Get the Tables. Thank you for the super hearts. We appreciate that. We appreciate everybody with the super hearts. Again, still waiting to hear back on our super broadcaster status. But, yeah, that's excellent. Thank you guys very much for that. We appreciate that. And, yeah, so we spent time with the in-laws up there. Got to see my nieces as well, who were delightful, and it was nice to spend some time with that. It's not the worst, but it's up there. It says Young Raph. Well, we'll talk about that. We got some other stuff to talk about as well. So, again, if you would, and I see a ton of you sharing the program already, if you'll continue to do that for us. And like I said, if you want to give us a call, chime in on the discussion here tonight, by all means do so.
I want to ask us where you got that sweet-ass shirt.
I was just about to say, you might notice something a little bit different here, and you might notice I floated this design out there to a couple of people. This design, the warning, heel turn imminent, this design actually inspired by my co-host, Silky Baines, who will be all nice and friendly and then all of a sudden just decide that he's going to go full-on heel and start talking shit to me and pick fights in the middle of the fucking show. All right? So I figured, you know what? This needs to be the first ever Speez in the Benchmark shirt. So here it is, baby.
Boom.
Speez, look at it. Look at it. Hold on. I got a whole bunch of them. Look at it. I got tons of them here.
Shameless plug.
Your very own
you can
warning, heel turn imminent, because we know you have those moments. You have those moments where the shit hits the fan and you just figure you're going to go heel on everybody at any possible second. Well, they are now available for purchase from your boys, Speez in the Benchmark. Just hit us up on the Twitters. At Speez Benchmark is the Twitter address. Just send us a DM. Let us know you want one. Or you can let us know in the chat room right now. Just say, hey, save me an extra large. Boom, done, sold. We're all for it. Or small or medium or whatever it is.
Whatever. We don't care.
Got all sizes. We got it all taken care of. So spread the good word about the shirts as well.
You can wear it while you dick kick somebody, because, you know, that apparently is what heel turn is in 2018.
Yeah.
Just kick them in the dick.
Yes, indeed. So, Young Raph is buying one. Boom. Boom. There you go. Just Chris. Awesome shirt. Boom. Everybody. They're coming already. I love it. Because as Silky likes to say,
these bills need to get paid.
These bills need to get paid. Indeed, they do. So
I really was hoping that I was calling. If you followed me on Twitter, you saw I put out a Negro Diamonds post saying that I thought Finn Balor would turn heel because it seemed like a good setup for that. And it didn't happen. Because we could have sold
a shit ton of these shirts with the, exactly. But listen, it's a great design. It's a great shirt. We got them in the black here with the orange warning sign. It's perfect. Got Speez in the Benchmark down on the bottom here, so you know where it comes from. You can help us spread the word about the program.
Wear it to all your local wrestling shows and then tell those motherfuckers where to get it and where to find us and subscribe to us.
On Twitter.
Boom.
$20. Speez in the Benchmark, heel turn imminent shirt. We'll have a post up on our Twitter page soon. So, like I said, a lot of you have been asking us about merch for the program. So, here you go.
Bam.
There it is. There's shirt number 1. And I already got shirt number 2's design ready to go. And it's fucking brilliant. But we're not going to drop that one for a little while. We got to get these sold first. So, hit us up and let us know if you would like one of those T-shirts. All right. Plenty to get to aside from Raw. And we should really probably save the worst for last because that was absolutely fucking horrific.
No, I think we should just blast through it. Here's the Corbin's Drunk with Power That's the narrative we're selling. That's as much as thought as they put into the show. The end. Let's move on.
I mean, we had to see Dean Ambrose
Yeah.
make a face while he was getting a shot in his ass.
Yeah.
We had to see Drake Maverick urinating again, this time pissing on Bobby Roode's robe.
And pissing on the careers of the AOP.
Because apparently, Drake Maverick's magic urine is the fucking magic elixir that keeps AOP undefeated and Raw Tag Team Champions. I mean, undefeated as Tag Team Champions. They haven't lost since they won the titles. But come on, dude. That's why you got rid of Paul Ellering?
Yeah, for that.
So we could have Drake Maverick piss jokes? That's horrible.
And then, like, it just made no sense. Like, how he's ruined all credibility. Because, one, should you be following a dude? I'm sorry. I would be out the show if Chris pissed himself right now.
Absolutely.
I would be like, I'm done with this show. Fuck Speez and the Bitch Walk. I'm out.
Yeah. If
like, no. And then he's, like, trying to sell it like, oh, I want you guys to know true fear. Like, you're basically telling everyone you were a bitch.
Yeah, pretty much. And WW Manager Game says Raw equals yikes. Couldn't agree more. Take the bump. Apparently, so is Lucha House Party. They changed the rules to get into. Okay.
Yeah, which doesn't their face tag team.
Look, it's
a goddamn abortion and a disgrace.
They are a face tag team, and they have these rules that all three of them can go. So why one? It's already confusing because all three of them are there. They're tagging sometimes, they're not tagging other times, they're just doing, and it was, I mean, God help
it's just
the
a bunch
revival.
of flying flippy shit. Just,
God help the revival.
Look, I'm not usually so anti-flippy shit. I'm pretty much anti-flippy shit, but I'm not going to come out and piss on it because a lot of people like that nowadays. This was just stupid flippy shit for the case of flippy shit. For the sake of flippy shit, I should say. And I know a lot of you are just waiting for me to melt down because the fucking revival lost again.
Oh, I mean, I got a big pop out of that. It was because I could just imagine him like the vein running down the center of his forehead, getting all engorged, and he's just turning red. Like, you turning red now. You so mad.
That's because there's no fucking legitimate explanation for the constant defecating upon the revival that happens on the regular on Monday Night Raw. It's absolutely atrocious. I've said it.
It's a goddamn abortion and a disgrace.
We can just play that on fucking.
It's a goddamn abortion and a disgrace.
Just loop it for the rest of the show because that's what it is. That's what it is. Is there any other way to accurately describe the shit show that is the revival on Monday Night Raw? It's absolutely embarrassing.
And Brooke saying maybe send him to SmackDown, but I mean, they'll probably just lose to, fucking the Iconics or some shit.
No, unfortunately, Bob Aruski, somebody did not record me this time. Just as a reminder, because you guys may have forgot, Raw was a lot worse a month ago. And I don't know. Do I have some kind of fucking cognitive dissonance or something? I purged it from my memory. I mean, I don't remember watching it and going, dude, this is just every segment was bad. The one thing that was supposed to rescue the show, you would think, would be Seth Rollins comes out, start of the 9 o'clock hour. We got the Intercontinental title open challenge. Sweet. Seth Rollins is good for he's money. You can't fuck that up. Unless, of course, you regurgitate the same fucking match that we've seen a billion times already and drag Dolph Ziggler back out there for another one of those matches.
I don't see why Drew McIntyre didn't take that spot. But then I guess if they're planning for this match at TLC to be for the title, which I don't think it needs to be, this would have been a perfect time for Dean Ambrose to play more mind games and cost Seth the title.
Yeah, because
Dean Ambrose he's a lunatic. He doesn't care about winning the title, so he doesn't care about costing himself a title match.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just getting caught up on the comments here because they're flying by here. Jody was sort of embarrassed for Raw. It's a clusterfuck, says get the tables. Why can't the Revival have a third person in these matches too? You think maybe they figure that out at some point? Revival are despite what NoFX, and I know he likes to needle me here a little bit, but he's right. The Revival are just jobbers now. They're fucking jobbers. They jobbed to the B team over the weekend again at Starrcade.
Yes, they did. That did happen.
Does nobody on the main roster booking committees watch NXT at all? Are they not even remotely aware of the caliber of matches that the Revival are capable of putting on. And don't try to tell me that fucking DIY or AOP or whoever the fuck else they were facing at the time was carrying them to these great matches, because look, the Revival were outstanding. I don't think people
they were though.
Even people who fuck with me.
They were kind of.
Okay, this is where Silky's going heel turn.
I mean, let's spell out. Let's not over romanticize how great they were, because that first run was
because you can't do it
shit.
because they were that great.
No, because the first run was shit. They were facing like the fucking Vaudevillains and the, I guess
and they were light years ahead of the
Lucha House
Vaudevillains.
Party version 1 of Los Luchas or whatever the fuck they were called, Sin Cara and Kalisto.
Yeah, Kalisto and Sin Cara.
Yeah, and
The
like,
Lucha Dragons.
whatever
Silky.
the fuck.
The Lucha Dragons, thank you.
Whatever. And it was just, I mean, they were okay. They weren't like shows. They didn't really start stealing shows until that second title run, and it started with them and American Alpha and them and DIY, them and AOP and DIY.
It's great matches, man.
Those were all really good teams. Not saying they carried them. I'm just saying that when they were with teams that weren't as good, they weren't lighting the world on fire.
They were still pretty fucking good.
They're
certainly better than what they are being booked as.
I mean,
here.
they'd almost have to.
You
It's
got no
almost
effects fans saying they'll face the Riot Squad and Liv will make them tap at the same time. That's how low it's gotten for the Revival. Is that I can look at that and go, you know, that probably would happen.
Yeah,
I could totally see that.
I
happening.
said Iconics, but yeah.
Drew is the next Universal Champ. We'll see. No effects fan punished for saying. I keep seeing people saying that the Revival got punished for saying wrestlers,
No.
as opposed to sports entertainers, I guess.
No, that's not it.
And Chris Rucker, shout out to you for saying don't call that horse shit Starcade.
Yes.
I hate what they've done to Starcade, man.
Yeah, that was just
Come on.
atrocious. I hate them for making me the person that's bitching.
We've turned into the old guys. Warren Hayes said it the other day. I was bitching about about Charlotte and Asuka having a match at Starcade. And then like 5 minutes after the match is over, Charlotte and Asuka and Ric Flair are all taking fucking pictures and tweeting them out after that. And I'm like, I hate you, 2018 wrestling. Can you at least pretend for 10 minutes after the match is over that you don't like each other and that you actually want to beat each other up?
I mean, it was just that, like, nothing about that was Starcade. Like, that's, saying that's Starcade is just a gross, as I think, was it Jim Cornette? I think it was Jim Cornette I was listening to, who basically had the analogy of that pay-per-view or that show special is calling that Starcade's like calling German smut porn cinema. Like, that's the same. That's the analogy.
No, Lit Man, we cannot talk about the Lucha House Party. Thank you very much. And
yeah, I think we should. I mean, like, they are the Mexicools, but
and look, Chris Rucker's saying it. Look, everyone can't win. You want all these people to win and NXT call-ups. Look, Chris, if you follow the show regularly, and hopefully you will, because I know this is one of your first times joining us. We appreciate that, sir. I'm a total Revival mark, and the fact that they get buried like they do just absolutely kills me.
I mean, they do kind of get buried.
They get killed.
But that's because they aren't that great.
Take the Bump says main roster Revival is shit. NXT Revival was the shit. Couldn't agree more.
I mean, I still think we're over romanticizing.
We're not, Silky. Come on.
We really are. I mean, think about it.
He's trying to get me worked up, is what he's doing.
Outside of that second run.
No. As you like, where's the fucking thing? Where is it? You hit it all the time and you got it hidden from me here.
No.
You will not sell me on the fact that we are over romanticizing what the Revival did in NXT. They were brilliant in NXT.
Yes, we are. I mean, because they were okay. Now, put them with someone that's really good and give them some time. Yes, they can do magic. But, I mean,
they put them with Zig and Tyre, who aren't even a real fucking tag team.
But they're both
and
really good.
And they had a brilliant tag team match against those guys.
Yeah.
Old school tag team who has a gimmick from the 80s isn't going to get over unless you're in the NWA.
Now,
why not just make them the throwback tag team? I mean, Bobaruski, I know you're doing it too. All right. They're trying to get my blood pressure up. All right. I understand it.
I know.
You cannot tell me that there's not some way to make the Revival into a legitimate tag team. And it ain't even that fucking hard. It's not hard. My 14-year-old in the next room trying to sleep while I'm here yelling could book the Revival to look like less ass clowns than they look right now on the main roster. And it's not difficult at all.
It is very
And thank
difficult.
you, Juanito, for the Super Hearts.
Yeah,
shift gears
but,
for a moment.
I mean, it's just they're okay, Chris. I think you're.
They're okay.
I mean, you put them with great people.
Just.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Lewis Top Cop was at Starrcade. He said it was a great event. Chris Rucker said, I agree. Revival sucked. They had great NXT TakeOver matches. So did Enzo and Cass.
They did. Boom. That poked a hole in your theory right there.
Well, if you buy into that bullshit, which I love you, Chris Rucker, there's no fucking way you can put Enzo and Cass on the same level as the Revival. You can't do it. You can't do it. No.
Actually,
no,
I'm
no,
just
no,
going to
no,
throw
no,
this
no.
out. Enzo
No.
and Cass was Tag Team of the Year one year. The Revival was.
Oh yeah, how many
not.
NXT championships did Enzo and Cass win? How many championships period did Enzo and Cass win? Oh, that'd be fucking zero. 2-time NXT champs, the Revival.
Okay.
Should be 2-time Raw champs because they should have beat the fucking B team, that
But they
horse shit
did
tag
not.
team. And they should have beat Ziggentire. Thank you, England JT, for the Super Arts. Super Arts are just coming crazy. Take the bump. Says the main roster can't book tag teams. They're getting the Daniel Bryan treatment, though, winning the tag team titles at Mania.
No, they
offense,
won't.
That's wishful fucking thinking. If
Yeah,
they even get on the card at Mania,
They are not. They are so pre-show at Mania. Like if that. Like they're going to be in that.
Think about how long
bullshit
it
battle
took the
royal.
Usos to get onto the main show at Mania.
Think about this. Dolph Ziggler has not yet had a one-on-one match at WrestleMania.
Lit Mantis says the Revival aren't going anywhere unless Bobby the Brain comes back from the dead to manage them.
Maybe Corny. Bring Corny out.
JJ
JJ Dillon.
I don't think Corny can handle being back with.
Oh yeah, no. Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
And Young Rap, their name is not Ziggentire. I just called them Ziggentire because they didn't really.
Just
have a
like
name.
I call Rude and Gable Rubles.
Here's Adam Awesome. The Revival would have been a legitimate tag team in the 1950s.
Boom.
Way too traditional and boring.
He's not wrong.
He is wrong.
He is not wrong.
He is wrong. Give the Revival a time machine. See, this is the content that Litman pays Super Hearts for. You guys coming in here and antagonizing me because I will lose my fucking temper. Oh, and the Lucha fucking house party is just unbelievable. Did I mention that we got merch, folks?
Yeah.
Warning. Heel turn imminent. You know I'm going heel against anybody who comes and tries to talk some shit about the Revival. So, if you want to get your very own heel shirt, boom, there it is right there.
And I just want to point, England JT pointed
$20.
out.
Speez in the benchmark. Hit us up on the Twitters. All right, let us know what size you need, and we'll save one for you. We'll ship it to you tomorrow. I'll throw them in the mail tomorrow. It'll be your way. Make it nice and simple.
England JT just pointed out Enzo was, Cruiserweight champ twice.
Yeah, what the fuck does that have to do with tag team wrestling?
He beat Neville.
It has.
He beat your
fuck
boy
all to do.
Neville.
Okay.
So, I mean.
I can handle the Revival slander to a point. Revival and Neville slander on the same show.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to turn into that fucking character that I tweet out all the time with the fucking mushroom cloud coming out of his head.
I mean,
stop it.
I'm just saying that
we're
did happen.
We're going to stop it right now, and we're going to move along.
Oh, man.
Somebody made the comment up here, and I apologize. I missed who it was, but said there's a reason that more people watch TakeOver than Survivor Series. I don't know if you saw this story, Silky, but when the list came out of the most viewed programs on the WWE network, for the first time, NXT TakeOver actually drew more viewers on the WWE network than the main roster pay-per-view. And a lot of people are saying, well, duh, of course it would. NXT's been better than the main roster for a long time. I can't disagree with that in terms of the big pay-per-view shows because we've talked about it here before. NXT does 4 or 5 TakeOver shows a year. They got plenty of time to prepare for them, plenty of time to build the rivalries. They book them in a way that makes sense. They give each match plenty of time. They're outstanding. But I will say, given that it was Survivor Series, and Survivor Series is supposed to be one of the big 4 or 5 pay-per-views.
Why do you say it like that?
Because to me, it's WrestleMania and everything else.
But that's not
to clump everything else together like that.
Well, no, they call it the Big 4 because it was one of the 4 original pay-per-views.
Okay. I always thought of it as Big 4 as because
WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble. Those are the Big 4. So
the way
it's
this,
not
the way this,
Big Four because the size. It's literally it was one of the first pay-per-views they did.
well, I say Big Four because if it was that fucking big, how is TakeOver? I ask you, and I ask you in the chat room, how is TakeOver beating one of the Big Four pay-per-views in terms of viewership? Has WWE fallen that far, or is it a matter of, well, you pulled AJ Styles at the last minute,
Yeah.
and you lost Becky Lynch at the last minute?
Yep.
So a lot of people tuned out
No,
of
I
the main
wouldn't say
roster
that.
pay-per-view.
I don't think they tuned down. I mean, this was just. I think the changes kind of was off-putting, but you had this great build-up for War Games. So of course people were going to tune into War Games, and War Games is on Saturday. You know, the pay-per-views on Sunday. Sometimes you don't have time to watch both. I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, more people will watch. I mean, that's probably for the initial viewing on those respective days, but I'm pretty sure more people will watch if you check in a few weeks Survivor Series than NXT, just because you have the main roster or the TV shows that you see twice a week telling you everything that happens and basically telling you to go see this, making you want to go see these matches, even if you're just watching the matches. You know what I mean?
And I would argue that the NXT audience is more likely to go back and watch an NXT match that they enjoyed a second or third time. Like, I could go back and watch any of the matches that were on this past TakeOver and not feel like I'm wasting time because they were all great matches. Not so sure if I would say the same about Survivor Series. Like, there wasn't really any one Survivor Series match where I go, holy shit, that was so good. I should go back and go watch that again.
I like the Charlotte Ronda match.
It was a good match. I mean, I will agree with that.
I will not go as far as how some people said it was like potential match of the year.
No, I don't think it was that good. It might be women's. Well, it's not women's match of the year. That was the Becky Charlotte match, which was great.
Yes.
No Roman Reigns and no Becky Lynch. Of course, TakeOver was more popular. Again, Litman can't argue with that one. Litman says he still hasn't watched Survivor Series. TakeOver War Games 2. Or excuse me, TakeOver War Games had 2 Match of the Year candidates. Mm-hmm. Probably can't argue that either.
Yeah.
With the Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano, and then the
War Games.
Well, the War Games match. I think she's probably talking about Dream and Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh yeah, Dream and Ciampa.
Because you had that match, which was very, very good as well.
Yeah. I could get you.
Can't wait to be at the Royal Rumble in January. Totally jealous, Litman. They were down here in San Antonio. I should have gone because I haven't been there. Because the premise of no title matches, all Raw versus SmackDown matches for nothing is boring. And see, I think Take the Bump hits it right on the head because as quote unquote exciting as it can be to see guys who wouldn't usually fight each other, like I was all in for the Brock Lesnar AJ Styles match last year. I thought that was going to be outstanding, and it was.
Yeah.
It was great. This year just didn't have that same kind of allure to it, number one. And when there's when
you do the
stakes in the fucking match, in the Survivor Series match.
Yeah, and when you do the change so close, like the week of the pay-per-view, it kind of, and then do the same match you would have done and with a la Brock and Bryan. I mean, come on, let's not act like that wasn't going to be the same match, but with AJ Styles moves if AJ was still in the match.
Pretty much.
Because that's the only way you could do that match.
Pretty much.
I mean, to make it believable, they give them both chances to win, so you're not taking away from one champ. That was the only way that was going to work. So
it still doesn't make sense to me that you turn Daniel Bryan heel right before that match. Because again, if you're trying to draw, and that's not to say that people didn't sympathize with what Brock was doing to Daniel Bryan, even though he's supposed to be a heel. But imagine how much more sympathy white meat babyface Daniel Bryan getting tossed around on his neck with all these German suplexes would have gotten in that match.
But and I think I said this after on the Survivor Series recap show, is that white meat babyface Daniel Bryan would get fucking murdered. Like, that match would have been over. You needed him to have that heel edge so he could do something as low as kick him in the dick so he can start getting advantage.
So I could turn the tables in his favor.
Yeah, like, without that, he gets destroyed. And that's something that provided that, because at least AJ's a little bit taller. And, of course, nobody physically stacks up to Brock. But if you're looking visual, Daniel versus AJ, AJ's a little more of the, closer to Brock. So, you can do it without him doing dastardly stuff like just play on the quickness and things like that. But Daniel Bryan's so small, it's like he has to do that to get an advantage. And he, basically he wrestled that match like he was supposed to. He saw his opening, he took it, and then he hit him with his best shot. Yep. And that didn't work, and he kept trying.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and Brooke says that's the main roster's booking problem. It's the same shit. Because Triple H isn't running Survivor Series. It's being run by an out-of-touch old white guy. Let me ask you this.
So when did you start running
Exactly.
Survivor? Boom.
Right? Exactly. Is it a bit of fool's gold with Triple H? In other words, we've talked about the differences between takeovers and main roster pay-per-views. It's a totally different ballgame, and I would argue, again, this is not to piss on Triple H. I have a great deal of respect for Triple H and what he's done, especially outside of the ring. It would seem, based on what we're hearing, he does a remarkable job of putting these feuds together, putting these matches together, putting these wrestlers in, positions to be successful. That being said, can Triple H have that same kind of respect if he is in fact the guy, which it looks like he is, who's being groomed to take over for Vince one day? Can he have that same kind of success on the main roster, or is this always going to be a scenario, and we've talked about it here before, where NXT and the main roster are such completely different beasts that it would be extremely difficult to maintain that kind of success on a main roster level?
No, I don't think it would be difficult to maintain that success. It's just you've got to come up with main roster's about money. NXT, I mean, of course, technically it is about money, but it's really not. It's about getting the talent out, getting their names, making them household names before they're ready for the main roster. The main roster is about money. Can you draw money? Will people buy your merchandise? And so they don't have that luxury of putting together these feuds of like Velveteen Dream and fucking EC3 to try, to put them both in position, because they want, someone who can sell shirts. And
speaking of selling shirts, did we mention the warning heel turn imminent Speeds in the Benchmark shirts? You need to get them right now. But hit us up on the Twitters and we'll hook you up. $20. It's a bargain price, just in time for Christmas.
But with the main roster, you don't have that luxury, because that's why you notice, and I've made this point before, right before WrestleMania, you have this guy that's getting this push, and you seem like this is gonna be the year that they do that, and then they always seem to go with someone that's established, someone that's made the money, the Randy Ortons, the John Cenas. That's why AJ Styles hasn't gotten a fair shake when it comes to that.
Yep,
is because to them he's unproven in the WWE system. So
why roll the dice?
Yeah, on your
when
biggest
you can put
pay-per-view,
a Roman Reigns, you can put a Brock Lesnar.
Yes,
you can put a John Cena. I totally agree with you there. Triple H says Triple H can't. Young Raph says Triple H can't do it. There's still a lot of hands on the WWE product, even if Triple H takes over as a bunch of yes men. That's true. That's definitely true. But we shall see what happens. Speaking of alternatives to the main roster, because we've been talking about NXT a little bit here, we're going to segue on over to a rumor that's been going about based on a few trademarks that were filed for the name All Elite Wrestling. And the hot rumor going around is that there could be a brand new promotion taking shape that would be headed up by Cody and the Young Bucks, who, of course, booked the All In show that was wildly successful this past year, along with good old JR, Jim Ross, and Chris Jericho. There were quite a few trademarks that were placed over the course of the past week for names like All Out. There was a Tuesday night, Tuesday something or other, I can't remember the name, which led people to believe that might be their show. They might have a TV deal lined up with a show. Again, All Elite Wrestling being the name of the promotion, potentially. It's all rumor, speculation at this point. Chris Jericho has said he has nothing to do with it. A lot of people are saying, well, that's what Chris Jericho does. He's not going to come out and say anything until it's a sure thing. I ask you, Silky Baines, would you be interested in an All Elite Wrestling promotion that's run by JR, Chris Jericho, the Bucks, and Cody?
I would be interested to see what they do. I mean, it's wrestling, so, and I love wrestling, so will it be successful? Time will tell. I mean, I don't know if like an All In can be done by them on a consistent basis, like as a show, like a promotion, like a spot show when you have that time to build it up and things like that. Yes, but to do that night in and night out.
And thank you, Alistair Fiend, for the Super Hearts, by the way.
To do that night in and night out, I don't see that being something that they would do and still be able to wrestle at a high level. Because, I mean, and that's another thing. As someone who wrestles and books shows, it is fucking hard.
Yeah, booking is not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, it is fucking hard to do both of them. And when half your office are still active wrestlers, it's a recipe for a disaster.
This is true.
So,
this is true.
I
We've
mean,
seen it firsthand. You far more than I have.
If they were to do it, I would think that they would initially, of course, they're going to have to wrestle to get that notoriety behind it, and then eventually phase out to not wrestling for the show and just running it, and then, you know, still working for ROH, still working for New Japan, things like that. I mean, that's how at least I would do it, because if I had their name recognition, is I would wrestle first, like first few couple of shows, just to get people watching it, and then I'd phase myself out and bring in the talent that I'm really trying to make money on.
See, and that's the question I have is you know, there's no denying, and whatever your thoughts are on the Young Bucks and Cody, Kenny Omega, that crowd, that elite crowd, there's no denying their draw amongst the indie wrestling fans. What they did with All In was absolutely spectacular, and it was, I don't know that we'll see anything like that in the near future, if at all. I mean, it was really, really impressive what they've done. And shout out to Raven's Blood. Thank you for pointing out again. It is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who's one of the guys who is apparently going to finance this, again, all rumor at this point, but allegedly going to finance this. And if you own an NFL team, you got money to play with. Let's face it. But as somebody else pointed out, billionaires don't become billionaires
by losing money.
So we'll see how long that lasts. But my question was, and I'd like to throw this out there to those of you watching as well, how would this be different than, say, a Ring of Honor?
It doesn't need to be.
I mean, what's different? Well, okay, because I'm seeing a lot of fans getting excited, and deservedly so, again, because like I was just saying, you can't deny the draw that these guys have, but is it going to be that much different than, say, a Ring of Honor? And if it's not, should we really be looking at this as a viable alternative to WWE? Of course, it's not going to be an alternative to WWE in terms of competition from a monetary standpoint or even from an exposure standpoint. That's not going to happen. And to suggest otherwise is just unrealistic. But if it's just another Ring of Honor or another Impact or something along those lines, should I be fired up about it as a wrestling fan?
Because as a wrestling fan, it's good. I would venture to say it will get you more eyes on different people that you may not have seen. Because think about like All In, you're not up on New Japan as much.
True.
Yeah. So I mean, how many people on All In that you saw perform that you had never heard of or seen before, but you got to know them through that exposure of being on All In?
Oh, of All In?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew a good portion of those guys later in the card. Some of the early guys, like Joey Janela. I'd heard of Joey Janela for years. Never seen a Joey Janela match in my life.
But
saw him for the first time.
Yeah, so you got that through watching All In.
Exactly.
So it would still, I think, be the same thing of you would get to see these talents that you may not always get to see, who may not end up, and through no fault of their own or not, lack of their talent, who may not get to the WWE.
That's fair. Let's sidetrack from this conversation very briefly because we got a phone caller joining us. I believe this could be our friend Sasha Reigns, but we will see for sure. What's going on, caller? You are on the Speez and the Benchmark show.
I'm doing good.
Glad to hear from you, Sasha Reigns.
I'm doing good. I'm on my.
Go ahead, ma'am. Sorry,
I'm on my way back.
I'm trying not to talk because I don't want to
It's
talk
Sasha
over.
Reigns.
I know. What's going on, Sasha? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm on my way back from Raw.
What did you think of the show being there live?
I loved it, seeing Ronda.
Because I got to tell you, the overall, I don't know, opinion of those on social media and those of us here in the chat room as well is that it was a pretty bad episode of Raw. Did you get that sense being there live, or did you feel like the crowd enjoyed themselves?
I feel like that the crowd enjoyed themselves, especially during Seth's open challenge.
Were you disappointed to see that it was Dolph Ziggler and not somebody different coming out for the open challenge?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, and that was kind of everybody, you know, like of all the things that you can do there. It's you get Dolph Ziggler again. So, what was the highlight of the show in your opinion? Was it the Seth Rollins match, or was there anything else that stuck out to you?
The Seth and the Finn Balor match.
And the Finn Balor match? What do you think of this new stable that's coming out with Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre kicking the crap out of everybody? You think they're gonna start making some serious noise here?
I think that they're going to possibly let Corbin be GM.
It certainly appears that way. You certainly seem to be headed in that direction. Anything else that we need to know about the live crowd that you found particularly good about tonight's show?
Yes, that there was a dark match, 10-woman match.
There was a what now?
Dark match.
Oh, dark match.
A dark match.
A 10-woman tag team dark match.
Okay, let me guess. Riot Squad was and Tamina and Nia against Bailey, Natalya,
Sasha,
and then
Ronda,
and
are we close, Sasha? Is
Dana
that
Brooke.
Is that close?
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, you know, it's supposedly good. Well, Sasha, thank you very much for chiming in. We appreciate it, and I'm glad you had fun at Raw tonight, and thank you for calling into the show as always.
You're welcome.
All
Bye.
right, take care. Have a good night. Sasha Reigns joining us here on the Speeds and the Benchmark Show. And you can get in as well on the phone lines, 832-937-4559.
Young Raph said he's going to be at SmackDown tomorrow.
Well, Young Raph, check in with us on Thursday, man. Let us know what you thought of the show. And I agree. Yeah, you're right. It's always a lot better when you're there live. It's a lot different. But I got to tell you, Raw is going to be here in Houston next week, a week from tonight.
And what's up on our tickets, man?
I was talking to my son about it earlier, and I was like, you know, man, I'm just not really all that psyched about shelling out money to go see. If I paid money to see tonight's show, I'd be kind of disappointed. We just went to Raw a few months ago.
Yeah. And you know how that turned out.
Turned out great. I had a great time.
It did not
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
You told me we had floor tickets.
I didn't tell you we had floor tickets.
You told me we had floor tickets.
We had fifth row tickets.
Fifth row sounds like the floor.
Fifth row in the seated part, you know, not on the floor part. You know,
who fucking does that?
I can't help it if Silky misunderstands. You know,
you oversold me on those tickets.
Yeah, I don't. You know, I don't know, man.
That's fucked up. I will not get over that.
See, now,
then my brother,
if I was Silky, I would say, you know, I don't speak your white folks language. I don't know how to put it out there for you so that you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. But I can't say, you know, I don't speak jive, brother.
Jive, really? The fucking 70s?
For Airplane, man. Airplane's a classic.
Fucking 70s racist?
Jive ass dudes ain't got no sense no how.
My favorite is Semi-Pro. Have you seen that?
So I have seen Semi-Pro, yeah.
Jive Turkey? Did you call me Jive Turkey? No, I called you cocksucker. Yeah. And we digress.
Goodness. That's how good Raw was tonight.
Yes, Bob Ruski even said, you fucking lied to me.
Whatever.
You fucking lied about it.
Get you a shirt, Bobarooski, because you know you deserve one. $20. Speeds in the Benchmark on Twitter, at Speeds Benchmark. Hit us up, and we'll send you a T-shirt your way. So, another big signing, potentially, literally big signing, since we've talked about NXT a little bit. We got away from our all-elite wrestling, but we'll get back to it once we get some more details. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But we did have a signing in WWE, allegedly. Apparently, PW Insider, I believe, has 2 confirmations and therefore is running with the story that Walter
Walter.
The big Austrian, who is fucking enormous. If you have not seen him, friend of the program, Sammy Guevara, has faced Walter over at PWG. Actually, faced him for the PWG championship, and Walter is known for just basically making his opponent's chest into mincemeat with these enormous fucking chops. And these poor bastards take a picture of their chest afterwards, and I swear to you, it looks like Hamburger Helper. I mean, he just absolutely annihilates people. So apparently WWE has been after Walter for a while, and the rumor has it that he will be over on the NXT UK brand for the time being.
Which I hope, if he is, I hope they do something better than, like, we were all waiting for Keith Lee, and I've seen him once.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Keith Lee at all, have we?
Yeah, and he's a really talented guy, so...
Well, he's going to be over on the UK brand, which I think is a good fit for him because that crowd is going to be far more familiar with his work, I think. He spends a great deal of his time overseas, wrestling over there, so I think they're going to enjoy him a lot more. We need to get to the NXT UK takeover as well here shortly, but look, Walter
and
is...
NoFX fan, no, we are not going to acknowledge that miserable thing that Nia was trying to do and call it a promo.
Oh, it just went on and on and on and on and on, and it was just...
Let's get to the call.
Well, we'll let our screener let us know who it is and what they want to chat about. But, yeah, Raven's Blood is excited. Walter is coming. He's a Vince McMahon type guy, and that he's a big man. Vince loves his big men. Keith Lee has been on NXT TV a good bit. Yeah, it'd be nice to see Keith Lee in a legitimate feud that results in us getting to watch him on a bigger stage like a takeover event. But, hey, it's getting crowded down there in NXT as well. We've been talking about how crowded it is up on the main roster for some time. But, yeah, Bob Ruski said he's seen him twice. He was just on NXT last week.
I didn't watch it last week. So, yeah, that's good for him because, great guy.
Plenty of guys in line to take that next spot. It certainly looks like Matt Riddle might get a look sooner rather than later. So,
to look for what?
For jumping into the takeover picture even more so, and potentially taking a spot away from a guy like Keith Lee. We shall see. But we'll get to more of that here shortly. Let's get to the phone lines where our boy Young Raph is on the line. What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm real good.
Well, we appreciate you calling into the program. Yeah, man, I appreciate the call, man.
You
always listening to the show, and we are very grateful for that. So I hear you want to talk about what's going to make Raw better.
Yeah, definitely. I think, in my opinion, I think there's a lot of guys on Raw that needs to go over to SmackDown, and some guys on SmackDown that needs to come to Raw. Because right now for Raw, they don't really have that guy that can carry it other than Rollins and maybe a few others, but right now is just Rollins. So they need somebody that can come over and kind of match up to Rollins.
Anybody in mind that you like? I mean, look, fans have been clamoring for Rollins and AJ Styles. You could definitely see them getting into it. Have we seen a lot of Rollins and Finn Balor ever since the match where Rollins hurt him? I mean, by the time Balor came back, we kind of lost those two guys as well. Well, let me ask you, Young Raph, who did you have in mind? I mean, who are some of the guys that you're talking about over on the SmackDown side of things that you could see injecting some new life into Raw?
Injecting some new life into Raw. In my opinion, I think they can send either Almas over, bring up a guy from NXT. I think it's best to bring up a guy from NXT. I think Aleister Black would be nice.
Is it?
I think.
Do you guys think that Raw? And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to throw this out to both of you guys. Do you guys feel like Raw is sort of heel heavy at the moment? I mean, are we needing, especially now that
too many heels,
especially now that Roman's out of the picture, and we just turned Dean Ambrose into heel? We're getting the big push for Lashley and Drew McIntyre and all of those guys. Now Braun Strowman's going to be on the shelf for a little bit. Do we need to see some more faces over there on Raw?
Oh, definitely need to see some more faces. But, I mean, I don't think moving Aleister up is going to be I think, and I'm a big proponent of main roster generally ruins everybody. from NXT. So I'd like to see him just where he's at, doing what he does, because with his gimmick, it only is really going to work viable with certain opponents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to see.
I agree.
You're not going to see him like you even on NXT. You don't really see him just taking on all opponents, like having competitive matches. They wait till they can find someone and find a way, an angle for them to have this match, and then they build off of that. Like, think about Johnny Gargano. Fucking jumped him.
Yeah.
That was the angle.
Right.
Dream. The whole thing was Dream wanting him to say his name.
My name, yeah.
Yeah, so they have to come up with these angles that even warrant Black being in the ring with them for the TakeOver show. And I think you have too many people on the main roster. You need plug and play. You need people where I can put you with anybody and you can go out there and deliver.
That's fair.
So,
Raph, let me ask you this, man. Who could you see moving in the other direction? Do you see somebody going over to SmackDown and doing more on the SmackDown show? Or is SmackDown... I mean, I tend to think it's going pretty well, and you don't want to mess with a good thing. But at the same time,
Shane
did
McMahon
you have...
is the best in the world.
Yeah. Did you have anybody...
I think the revival...
Well,
I think the revival needs to move to SmackDown.
Thank you.
But they're really... There's not much better on SmackDown, so, and the teams they have are so established that I see them kind of not, maybe they won't be as bad losing to like fucking Lucha House Party, but I don't see them ascending to the top because of like the New Day and the Bar
and the
Usos.
Yeah.
So you've got these three teams that are very established that they don't match up to, if we're just being honest about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's unfortunate, but it's fair.
I didn't think of that. That's about right. You know, I think my issue right now is that when I watched NXT, the Revival was one of the best tag teams on the show, and it's more people. Basically, more people from NXT has failed on the main roster than succeeded.
Yeah, it's
That
unfortunate.
is true, but
And that's
again, the Revival was great when they were put with great opponents.
Stop it. Just stop it.
I mean,
this is bullshit revisionist history.
Oh, no,
Raph,
it's
this
not.
is what I deal with on a weekly basis on this goddamn show.
You guys are living in revisionist
history. And that's why I need
history
people like you to call in and rescue this program from the horse shit.
One great match they had with the Lucha Dragons.
Stop it. Raph, let me ask you this.
Vaudevillains, Enzo and Cass.
Dragons.
Are you gonna be,
that's who they were fighting around the time their first forgettable title run.
Stop
okay.
It. Stop it.
So,
Raph, you going to be live tweeting from SmackDown Live tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm gonna be on SmackDown Live tomorrow, man.
Sweet. Well, do us a favor and keep us up to date on Twitter on what things are like there, because it's a totally different vibe on TV. So I'll be looking forward to hearing looking forward to hearing your takes and what the crowd says.
All right, thank you, man. You guys keep up, bro.
Will do. Right. Thank you so much for the call. That's Young Raph, everybody. You can give him a follow over on the Twitters as well. He's a regular follower of us, and the Dr. Huge show as well. So thank you for the call, good sir. 832-937-4559. Still got a few minutes to get in if you want to call us.
832-93-SILKY.
832-93-SILKY. So it's all going to change anyway because SmackDown is moving to Fox. We shall see. We shall see. And WWE became a heel factory in the 80s, so Hogan could have people to beat. That's very much true. You had Hogan and... Yeah, that's just feed guys to Hogan. Tag division is better than Raw, Revival, and AOP should be running that division. Yeah, I totally agree. I've been saying it forever, Raven's Blood. Revival versus the Usos would be outstanding. Revival versus the New Day would be outstanding. But I would say Revival versus the Bar would be outstanding.
But then after that, I mean, how does that help them, like, get them to the top?
Well, you got to let them beat some of those guys. They got to beat some of those guys.
But I think it's just going to expose that they're not that level. They're not on that level. So
see, I think they are on that level.
They are 100% not.
I think fans of tag team wrestling recognize that the Revival are on that level.
No, they're not on
and
the
just
level.
Because they're not booked
maybe
like
the
they're
Bar,
on that level.
I'd say probably the Bar. They'd probably
definitely
be on
the Bar.
But Usos and New Day, no, they are not on their level as far as tag team wrestling.
I don't know, man.
They've just been doing it too long in the WWE system and making it work.
I mean,
New Day. You can't argue
so
New
good.
Day. You want to talk
good.
Revival. Ooh, Revival's 2-time tag team champs in NXT. The New Day was the longest reigning fucking tag team champions.
I understand
in
that.
the company. In the company.
I understand that.
In
Give
the
Revival
company.
the opportunity
They beat Demolition.
to show what they can do.
They beat Demolition's record.
I get it.
Teams like Demolition, the
You know who's
Colossal
going to beat
Collection.
the New Day's record? The fucking top guys. That's who. Silky.
No, they're not.
Bold prediction right now. Top guys going to break that
they're
record.
not.
Where's my?
You don't have a Gringo Damas.
Where's my Gringo Damas?
Don't
Right
you
there.
bastardize my Negro Damas music for your insane bullshit. First of all, I give you the New Day though.
Yeah, that's
Because that's what they're
the New Day
saying when you
reaction,
say that the Revival will beat their record.
see what Young Raph said right there. On the level to be top 3.
No, they're not.
Top 3 tag
They're not
teams
even
in the
top
company.
5.
Because the Revival don't have a gimmick means they aren't on that level. Yeah. See, Silky, what? Because they don't have a gimmick? Is that what it is? You know what their gimmick is? Being the fucking top guys.
And-
Being an old school throwback real tag team.
Did I see them versus DIY? Yes, I did. Yes, it was crazy good. Did you watch them versus the Vaudevillains?
That was crazy good too.
That was not.
That was a Revival carrying the Vaudevillains to
No, that was
brilliant
not.
matches.
Did
but
you
that
watch
was,
them versus Enzo and Cass? Not that great.
No,
Did you
come on.
watch them against the Lucha Dragons? Not that great.
No,
So, I
stop
mean,
it. Stop it.
they
It
had
was good.
they had great people with them, and that's why they had these great matches that they also had months and months to prepare for. They knew going in. So yeah, you have months and months to prepare for one opponent. It's the Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes said it best. Yes, they are great at what they do, but when you have that much time and you have that access to go over stuff with your opponent,
Okay.
it should be a fucking good match.
So what's different about them and any other NXT person? Because we're saying that most NXT people fail when they get to the main roster. You could make the exact same argument and say, well, of course they kicked ass in NXT because they have all this time to practice and they should be awesome. And when they get to the main roster, they're just not going to be as good because they don't have all that time.
No, I mean, but the proof's in the pudding. How many people have actually made it to the top that came up from NXT?
But I'm not saying what
But-
you're making it sound like is that you could use that excuse for all those guys. You could say, well, there's a reason that Finn Balor was, only Universal Champion for a day and he's never been even close to that point again.
Well, I mean, there is a reason he got hurt.
Well, man.
I mean, they pushed him to the moon on his first night of his call up, and then nothing.
Did you see Enzo knock himself out on the bottom rope? Yes, I did.
Yes, that was hilarious and awesome.
I didn't think it was that funny at the time, but in retrospect,
No, it was
kinda
hilarious.
it wasn't as hilarious when Simon Gotch went and tried to pick him up when he was fucking out cold.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, back off, man. That's not cool. Poor booking is why NXT guys fail. Well, and Raven's Blood says the same thing. It's the booking
I think
that kills the
it's
NXT talent.
Yeah, it's definitely the booking in a sense because of the fact that NXT is such a strong community of fans that they're generally happy when they move up because it's like seeing your favorite guy going to your favorite store and finding out that employee you've always talked to just got that promotion.
Yeah.
You're generally happy to see him doing better.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's like it kills all of the not credibility, but they just kill it because then the fans love them, so they can't really do as much as they want to do. Like Bobby Hill should have been heel.
Bobby Roode, yep.
Should have been heel. But people were happy when he made it because people who followed him from fucking TNA to NXT to the main roster were just so happy at his success that it made it impossible for them to push him the way they needed to.
That's fair.
And I think you're going to,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I've come up with trying to find a way to transition people you're going to call up to face. So when they go up, it's not as hard for them as it is for like your heels. Like
Yeah.
Lars Sullivan is fucking dead in the water. I mean, I wasn't too thrilled with him in NXT.
I think he's gonna have a tougher time than people anticipate.
Yeah.
He's gonna get a lot of wins
Yeah.
because he's a
Big guy.
big guy, and if they're making this big a deal about him coming up, well, of course we say that.
Yeah.
They could make a big deal about him coming up and fucking bury him, and just because that's what they do sometimes. So we'll see how that goes. All right, folks, before we get out of here tonight, got to send a shout out to the good folks over at Prestige Properties. soon as I find it over here on the program. Travis Wallach, 713-882-4609. Prestige Properties, commercial real estate, residential real estate, anything you need down here in the Texas area. Again, we know many of you are listening outside the Texas area, but you probably know somebody who lives in this area and could use some help with the real estate market down here in Texas, which is booming, as it always is. And Travis is a guy that can definitely help you out with that. Trav, w777@gmail.com. If you want to send him an email, or 713-882-4609. Travis Wallach, Prestige Properties, proud sponsors of the Speez and the Benchmark Show. So, one last time before we get out of here today, Silky, got to pimp out the new gear.
Boom.
$20. Straight up.
$20.
No tax, no shipping, no nothing. $20. There it is.
Hot 20.
All right. All you got to do, at Speez Benchmark on Twitter. Hit us up. Send us a direct message. Let us know, hey, I want one of those T-shirts.
How many you want?
How many you want? What sizes? And I will have them in the mail tomorrow. Headed your way. So going to try to sell some of these T-shirts. And also want to talk about on Thursday. You guys will do us a big favor. We got to pack this show on Thursday because Silky and I have partnered up with a local charity organization here to do a holiday fundraiser that we are very excited about, and we're going to share all the details with you on the show on Thursday. So whatever you're doing on Thursday, see if you can't make a few minutes to swing by. 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time, that's 9 Eastern. Check us out. Make sure to spread the good word, and I think it's something that anybody who watches our show can get behind. This wrestling community comes together for a lot of great causes, and we feel like this is a great cause that folks can come together with as well, and we hope you'll consider doing so. So we will get to that. We'll get to Young Raf's take on SmackDown Live, which he will be seeing live and in person on Tuesday. We'll talk about all that this coming Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time right here on the Speez and the Benchmark Show. At Speez Benchmark on Twitter if you want to get your hands on one of these T-shirts. Silky, anything else from you before we say goodnight?
This Saturday, I'll be at the Eureka Heights Brewery for the 4th annual Team Saniverse Team Krampus Wrestling Show. December 8th, I'll be in Eustis, Texas for the return of NTWA, North Texas Wrestling Alliance.
Nice.
And then December 16th, the Tugboat Memorial Show, DZW, here in Katy.
Tugboat Taylor Invitational Tournament, of which the Benchmark is a part. So we will be rooting for him to get the victory there. And, of course, we'll be back on Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 Eastern, for the Benchmark. Silky Baines.
Fuck the revival.
Chris Bezak, thank you so much for being with us here on the Speez and the Benchmark Show. We'll see you Thursday at 8 p.m. Central. Good night, everybody.